Saudi summit in crisis as Khashoggi case prompts mass withdrawals. World Bank joins CNN and Financial Times in pulling out of kingdom's showpiece investment event.
Here's a summary of the article.
A high-profile investment summit in Riyadh later this month is rapidly becoming a fiasco as prominent businesses and media groups pulled out over Saudi Arabia's alleged involvement in the disappearance and possible murder of the Washington Post journalist Jamal Khashoggi. Saudi Arabia's ambitious Vision 2030 project, the brainchild of the kingdom's de facto ruler, Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman, is strongly dependent on overseas investment, and the apparent shunning of the prestigious FII conference will be as disturbing to Saudi policymakers as the more distant threat of a U.S.-imposed ban on arms sales. While living in Saudi Arabia, Khashoggi was told to stop writing or posting on Twitter, where he has more than 1.6 million followers. Khashoggi previously had close links with the Saudi royal family, including having served as a media aide to Prince Turki Al Faisal, when the latter was Director General of the Saudi intelligence agency. He is also a former editor of the Saudi newspaper Al Watan and had worked with Prince Al-Walid bin Talal, a grandson of the first Saudi king who was detained last year as part of what the authorities said was an anti-corruption campaign. We are following the situation closely, and unless a substantially different set of facts emerges, I won't be attending the FII conference in Riyadh. Saudi Arabia's sovereign wealth fund is a major investor in Uber. Sir Richard Branson has halted discussions with Saudi Arabia's sovereign wealth fund about a planned $1 billion investment in Virgin's space companies.
This post received a score of 8,394, with an upvote ratio of 97%. Here are the top comments in response to this article.
Of all the terrible shit the Saudis have done, who knew this would be the straw that temporarily breaks the camel's back? Edit for grammar.
I think it's because consulates are pretty sacred internationally. A lot of their other killings and actions fit just fine into the international political order. Wars happen, despots are things, etc. But this is a violation of how the members of that international political order interact with each other. If this guy had been picked up while in Saudi Arabia or was assassinated in his bed or something, I don't think it would have received much scrutiny.
Turkey has a pipeline that they get billions off of that runs from Russia to Europe through the middle of their country. Guess who is Turkey's and Russia's biggest rival when it comes to natural gas and oil going into Europe? Saudi Arabia, who were trying to get a pipeline to Europe through Syria, which isn't happening now, because Syria is controlled by Assad, a huge ally of Russia. Russia will basically have Europe by the balls when it comes to natural gas, considering that 1 out of 4 Europeans use Russian gas. Russia will have a tremendous amount of influence.
How exactly did this murder change anything in the course of events?
Tactically, causing a rift between Saudi Arabia and the US would be huge. For one, there is the obvious need for oil and such, but also they are the US top customer for arms sales, hitting $150 billion in sales. Considering how important Saudi Arabia is to the US and vice versa, the separating of that alliance on any level would be a huge plus for anyone seeking dominance on a global scale in numerous arenas. China would love to see less influence in that oil-producing nation by the US, Iran would love to see less military equipment being sold to the Saudis, Russia would love to see Saudis out of the gas game in Europe and see the US look bad on a global scale. There is more, but regardless, it's enough for the various government to drive attention to for weeks on end.
It all comes down to KSA, OPEC, the petrodollar, and the military-industrial complex. No chance in hell of this journalist's murder changing any of that. Worst that will happen is that Washington sends a strong condemnation to KSA and issue some token threats, and behind closed doors Washington asks MBS to cut this shit or they will put someone else in his place.
I'm not disagreeing, but a lot of countries are going to have a field day with this. Let's be honest, it puts Trump in a horrible place globally and at home, when he isn't in a great place to begin with. If he sides with the Saudis, he looks disloyal to Americans killed by a foreign country as the president. If he sides with the reporter, he tosses a key global ally under the bus when he has few as is.
This video was automatically created by Reddit to speech. The article and comments in this video were selected from Reddit according to their upvotes, and any paraphrasing was performed by SMMRY.com, without any human intervention.